Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Today we're going to be working on the old Chevy Avalanche. So we're working today on a 2004 on the rear brakes. We're going to be replacing the rotors and the brake pads, as well as some other parts as we dig into this. I would recommend that you watch the video all the way through before you get started on the project, just so you can see what can go wrong, what can go right, and what other parts and tools and things that you might need. I've got the tire off the vehicle here. I've got it jacked up. I'm not going to go through all of that. You'll need to do that, obviously, get it safely jacked up. Use jack stands, obviously, to make sure that things are safe and nothing falls on you. Let's dig in and I will show you the parts and tools that you will need to get this job completed. It does not take much and it does not take very long. This is a fairly simple job and you usually can get it done within about an hour or so for maybe 2 hours for both sides. So let's take a look at what we need to get started. So things that you'll need to do the full job, you will need a new set of rotors for the rear, and those were, all this is linked from Amazon. You'll need a new set of brake pads for the rear, and it comes with the clips and the pads themselves. You will also need, as far as tools go, a hammer, which is helpful for getting some of these rusted and stuck nuts and bolts off. You'll need a socket wrench with a 12mm socket wrench with an 18mm socket. A flathead screwdriver is handy as well. I would recommend some Loctite, some thread locker. Medium strength is fine. This is something that I got, I've done quite a few brake jobs with this tube. This will be very helpful in making sure that things are lubricated properly and working properly for you so that your brake pads will last a long time. You're also going to need a clamp. You can use one of these quick clamps or a C-clamp, and then a little piece of scrap wood. Optional things, if you want to use some brake cleaner to clean things up as you're working on the brakes, and then a rag, of course, to keep yourself clean. I also would recommend using some gloves. This is a dirty job, but many people will use rubber gloves, or you can just use work gloves. Just helps keep some of the brake dust and grime and lubricant and other things out of your hands and your skin. The first two bolts that we're going to remove are the 12mm bolt here on the top, and then there's another one right here on the bottom. So right there and right up top here, those two are going to get removed. Those are 12mm. Then right after that, we are going to remove the two 18mm bolts that are down here. So these ones are a little harder to get off. I'll kind of tap on the socket wrench with a hammer, but we'll get those removed as well. These ones usually are pretty easy to get off. Once we get this whole unit aside, the actual caliper here is attached by the brake line. You do not need to remove the brake line. You can leave that attached. We're just going to swing this to the side, get it out of the way, and then we'll remove the bracket, and then we'll start getting stuff replaced. The rotor itself, sometimes they can get rusted on here, and so if that's the case, if yours isn't loose like mine is, what I would recommend doing is putting your lug nuts back on loosely. This will protect your lug nuts, but you can beat on it in between and it'll loosen that up so you can get that off easy. So emergency brake stuff, I'm not that worried about. I'll try to clean this up a little bit, but I'm not really worried about this the emergency brake system. I'm sure it doesn't work. Slide the new rotor on. What you're going to get with your new pads, if you order them from the link that I provided, you'll get a new clip here. This actually goes on the top part of the caliper. I'll show you that when we're done. So this is kind of a goofy looking clip. That one you don't have on the front brakes, and then you get two of these brackets, which as far as I know they are identical. You'll get 4 of them actually, obviously, for both sides. That's what all that grinding noise was. Oh, so I'll point out a couple things that you're going to notice with with this. Number one, obviously this truck is super old, rusty. It's stored outside. It's in Michigan. Everything just rusts apart here. So that's why this is kind of a problem. But you'll see this pad wore through before this one did. And the reason for that is probably because this one was stuck or the slide was stuck. And so what I want to do is we're going to get these slides taken out. We're going to clean those up and lubricate everything. So the pad actually needs to slide in this channel on the bracket. So it needs to slide in here a little bit, and this pin needs to slide in here also. And so we want to make sure all that stuff is nice and lubricated so that everything doesn't get stuck. I can feel this one right here. It's rusted right into place. And so this one, it was pushing, you know, on the inside and not on the outside, and so it ended up wearing through that one quicker. So I'm going to pull these clips off, the old ones. I want to get rid of those. This is where I'll take a screwdriver and just kind of clean any debris or rust kind of out of these clips here, this bracket. Doesn't have to be perfect. We don't really need this to slide. We want that bracket to fit nicely in there, snap into this spot and stay in there. These Chevy trucks will run forever. I mean, the engines are just bulletproof. But if you're in the northern states, the rest of the truck was going to rust apart before the engine ever had the problem. So I can already feel that these are seized up. They're stuck. So I'm going to grab a pair of channel locks here and see if I can turn these a little bit. Rest in there pretty good. Well, with this being rusted in here like this, what I will probably do is actually run and grab a whole new bracket, which they're not expensive. This is what I did last time I had to do this, I think, on the front. It's easiest to put the boot on the pin first and just use a screwdriver to work your way around, and it'll seat on there. There's a little edge that you want that to catch on, and then the bigger side will go on here. Once you have the boot on, go ahead and lubricate up your slide. You can put a little lubricant inside the hole, and then some on the slide itself, a little on the end, and so that's gonna go right in there. And then you just want to make sure that you get your seal snapped around that little edge there, that little lip. So now your slide is in there, nice and lubricated, and you got the boot all buttoned up so no dirt will get it. Alright, we're going to take our brake pad clips, and these just fit right into the indentations on the bracket here. So also put a little bit of lubricant in these clips. You want your pad to slide in there as well. And the new pads will just slide into place. So only one last thing to do before we put everything back together. So we have the caliper here, and use a piece of wood and one of these compression clamps, woodworking clamps. You can use a C-clamp if you have one, whatever you have available. So this is just going to compress the pistons back in so that makes room for the new pads, which are a little bit larger. Just kind of slowly squeeze that down. It's going to force the brake fluid back up into the reservoir. And then we also have our clip up here. It's going to come out. We'll pop the new one in. We'll put a little medium strength Loctite on these bolts before they go in. And we'll just throw a little on the outside of these as well. So you're going to have to kind of squeeze your pads in a little bit. And there you have it. We've got all new brake rotors and pads installed. And like I said before, I would recommend just getting, I'll put a link to the whole kit. That way you get a new caliper as well. While you have everything apart, you may as well do that. And honestly, it's not that much more expensive. I think it was like $75 to get everything, and I paid almost $60 just for the brackets from part stores, auto part stores. So it looks like I have a lot more to replace in here. We've got I think this is a sway bar and new shocks. I need to put a bump stop back in here, and I need to fix some exhaust things. A lot of things are rusted apart on this truck, but at least the brakes will work. This truck is going on 20 years old, and here in Michigan anyway, things definitely don't last as long. This truck would probably last me 30 or 40 years, honestly, if things didn't just rust apart here in Michigan. The salt on the roads, the winter, the snow, the ice, the slush, everything gets stuck underneath it, the mud, and things just rust away. So there are lots more repair projects to do on this. I think if I can replace a lot of the things that have rusted away, I've got some straps and some other pieces that have rusted out, I think I can keep this thing running for quite a bit longer. But at least the brakes are done. That grinding sound has been going on for a couple weeks now, and it was time to get it done. I use this truck as a farm truck. I don't go far with it, and I use it to haul trailers and wood and things like that around here. So it's a necessary tool on the homestead. You got to have a pickup truck, you got to have a trailer, you got to have the tools to get the job done, and hopefully the brake job here will last many years. These brakes should outlast this vehicle. I would hope that that I wouldn't need to replace these in the next few years. So let me know if you guys have questions. Those of you guys who are auto mechanics out there, or have done this, maybe has a lot more experience with this, or any tips and tricks that you want to share with everybody, throw that stuff down below. We welcome advice here, and so not only for myself the next time I do a brake job, but for everyone else that's watching. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video. Hopefully this helped you guys out, and as always guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.